Kensil culture, puppets, props, puns, podcasts.
That's life. That's what all the people say, but it's an Us magazine. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another issue of that pop culture magazine, Kensil Culture. And here he is, ladies and gentlemen, the Titan of Trivia. The Titan of Trivia. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, our big boss right over there. And you know what boss is backwards? Double S-O-B. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's the one, the only, John Kensil.
Hey, people out there in podcast land. John Kensil here. Big news this week. I got my hair cut.
Yeah? I had a mohawk. I got my hair cut. I didn't get it done by a professional like you did. I had somebody who cut hair on the side.
Mohawk. I got my hair cut by a girl in this show. The podcast originates from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And the girl who cut my hair had the thickest. You can hear my accent. Imagine my accent on steroids. She was like, next in line. Oh, you want to get your hair cut? And I'm like, yeah, I have a super comedy show this week. And she goes, oh, you're a comedian? You know Carrot Top?
She asked about Carrot Top?
Yes. And then she said, they talk about, she's like, oh, tell me a joke then. Am I going to be part of your act? Right? What's going on? Hold on a second. Can you order some hoagies for our break? It's just a thick Philly accent. Batteries. So you watching the Eagles?
It's kind of cute on females sometimes. I kind of like when they say, yeah, well, I'm going to Yakima. Okay, yeah. You want anything?
I can't hear the Eagles because the battery's died on my radio. What's going on, right?
Who has a worse accent out there? Do you think that,
I know. Baltimore.
Okay.
Yeah.
They call everybody doll there. That's what I remember, doll. And
They do. You hear our accent, it's they'll say, like, up that dirt road to get some water, hot dog. I'm going to Maryland. But she was cutting my hair, and she, oh, you do comedy? And, yeah, we're talking. And she goes, to quote Ferris Bueller, because she thinks comedian Ferris Bueller is a comedian.
Ferris Bueller, yes, she's going to quote Ferris Bueller, one of the great philosophers of our time.
Right. But she goes to quote, yeah, exactly. So she said, to quote Ferris Bueller,
and for his birthday, we should have a day off.
Yeah, exactly. All right. And so I said to her, I go, you mean the movie? And she goes, no, the man. And then she said the line from the movie, I think it's just live your life or just do it or something like that.
And John said, with that, I can't take any more.
That's what you wish you had, too. I wish I had? I like to hire an orchestra to walk around with me. And when someone's telling a long, boring story, they start playing them off like an award show. Wrap this up.
That's the sickest thing that I've ever heard, that you wanted to, why don't you just take along a karaoke machine and just, express yourself in that way, John? Why do you have to depend on others to show what your true feelings are?
This is true. But in Philadelphia, it's the big Super Bowl is tomorrow. What's this? What's going on here?
Woo! Super Bowl. Yay. Okay. Bear with us. Okay.
How do you get to Jersey from here?
Bear right and bear down.
Yeah.
But hey, let's go Eagles. I'm telling you,
it's going to be a good game. It's the experts are calling it. It should be a close game.
I kind of like Kansas City though. I like the Chiefs. I think that it's great that they actually keep their somewhat racially sensitive name. Okay, the Chiefs, and they,
and their mascot, Wigwam Jones.
Well, I wear a hat to keep my wigwam, but no. But I think that it's kind of nice, and our good friend, Mike Ciccone, great comedian. He's probably playing in Vegas as we speak. He is a big Chief fan.
He lives in Kansas City.
Yeah, and he gets the red. He goes and he makes little altars to the Chiefs, and he takes red dye and pours it into fountains and stuff.
Oh,
and,
he puts smallpox in blankets.
That's
Oh, all right. Sorry, I shouldn't have went there.
Yeah, I don't think so. Holy mackerel, there. But anyway, I kind of enjoy the Chiefs, and they're tough. Look, they got all the way up here with the Eagles, and
should be a fun game too. Our former coach Andy Reid is coaching them. There's two Kelsey brothers, Jason Kelsey. He's one dressed as a mummer, and their two brothers going against it. We have our mascot, Bird Brain. It's a guy in a big Eagles suit. And the Kansas City has their mascot. It's Freddy the Hamburger.
No, what is Kansas City's mascot? I know that the Giants don't have a mascot, or the Giants, New York Giants, don't have a mascot or cheerleaders. Okay, what are they, anti-American? I don't get that.
Wait, you're from Upper Jersey.
Yes.
All right. The dirtiest mascot I ever saw.
Yeah.
Was this is years ago, but
I've worked with the Philly Fanatics.
This is Mr. Met from the Mets, the guy with the baseball head and the white outfit.
Okay.
He was walking through the stadium when I was there. The one game I went to.
Okay.
And it was all dirty. Like, I don't know if he. Then when I saw it live, he was all dirt patches all over him. It was awful.
Well, mascot is just one step up from geek,
okay?
Yes. And to actually bite the head off a chicken or put up with the Philadelphia fans, which the Philly Fanatic has to do.
You just mentioned that. For an interesting story, somebody from Sesame Street, the puppet shop.
Can you tell me how to get there? No.
What?
Sorry.
Remove half your brain. That's that's how you get there. Somebody from Sesame Street designed the Philly Fanatic costume, the mascot suit, right?
Okay.
And they got I guess
Jim Henson.
They weren't from the Creature Shop, the Jim Henson's Creature.
Okay.
But it was some
Creature Shop.
Somebody who was a puppeteer on Sesame Street designed this, and they got a residual for making the outfit.
Oh, he must have pulled some strings. No, I'm sorry. Sorry.
And but what happened was this happened just recently, the past 6 months. They had to renew their their lease on having this costume.
Yeah, the copyright, or
So the Philadelphia Phillies redesigned the Philly Fanatic and changed it a little bit, and that thing that shoots out his mouth as a tongue.
Yeah.
Was red before, and then now it's purple. And it made the news and the woman was mad. She was trying to sue the Phillies, and somehow they settled out of court. And I swear, we were talking before the show about this. I think sometimes there's manufactured crises like that to keep. It's all fake.
It's called publicity, John.
Yes.
It's dog eats horse or something like that. Or tail waves dog.
Well,
everybody wants a different outlook on things, and there's a lot of different sources now that you can quote.
Now, Wid brought this up earlier. Life magazine, there.
And I was going to say, and that's what the people say, but it's an Us magazine with Britney Spears on the cover. Woo!
Well,
she's in the news again. Do you know the difference between the Suez Canal and Britney Spears? The Suez Canal and Britney Spears.
Well, she's a living human being.
No, John, you're supposed to say no. What?
What's the difference between the Suez Canal and Britney Spears?
Well, the Suez Canal is a busy ditch.
Yes.
I'm not a gangster enough to say.
But we just mentioned manufactured publicity. this magazine, this and People have been around for years, and it's all like the headline says, like, Brad Pitt gets his whatever right here. No, Brad Pitt has a new haircut. People are amazed. But in a Life magazine I don't think it's this one here, but it was talking about Liberace, the piano player.
Okay, I junk picked at his house in Las Vegas, and I actually went to the Liberace Museum, and I saw that they had a picture, and it said Liberace at the 1937 World's Fair. And I knew it was 1939. So I went and I got one of the curators, and I said, and I'm living in the streets, of Vegas, sleeping in signs and stuff. And I didn't have money to go to the Liberace Museum. And so I get there and I tell him, no, it's the 1939 World's Fair, because even back then I was fascinated by the 39 World's Fair. Look it up. And they let me in for free. And I'm telling you, I went to Elvis's place and Liberace's place, and they're the same person, okay? They had the same taste and gaudiness, okay? Elvis a little bit,
Well, I went to that museum too, and it was interesting. I think a museum, in my mind, I'm brainwashed and thinking it's like the Smithsonian or a big museum. No, the Liberace Museum was a bank in a shopping center that closed up, and they just gutted it and put it in there. And I actually went to it, and it's very neat. He had a lot of money, and he had like a...
I might have went to the one before you, because the one that I went to was shaped like a piano. And I remember they did get kicked out in the thing, but...
I saw that. Well, they made, but they may have made they made a shape of a piano outside. Yes,
yeah, something. Okay, so it was probably the same place, and it wasn't too much. But my favorite thing was to see the first gaudy outfit that he wore, because he used to only wear, and all it was like little, the love beads, like from the '60s. It was little beads just sewn into
like rivets or a
thing. And it was like sort of a conservative, gaudy look, but then he just got, he got Vegas-ized.
Well, exactly, and it was really neat. This museum, he bought like Beethoven's piano or somebody famous, a famous piano. It was a really odd-looking piano, but he bought that. But he's right though. He had his, what do you call it, glitter-covered grand pianos. But
it was just as gaudy or as over the top as you can imagine that Liberace could be. We all know about his personal life and all that stuff, but he was an entertainer for years. The old ladies loved him, and he had the great gaudy, ugly, stuff that just he still has. I mean,
what I thought was really cool about the museum is we're saying cool about Liberace was in the 60s and 70s and in the 80s. He had various cars they would drive on stage in, like a Rolls Royce or a Corvette or an old convertible, like a 57 Chevy convertible. Yep. And the curator said that the cars only could hold about a gallon of gas because you couldn't drive a motor vehicle on stage and off air. And it was actually like pushed on stage and pushed off because it could explode or kill people and stuff like that. But it was very neat. But when I was there, I was in the Las Vegas Comedy Festival. Which I won the Philadelphia round. I got to go out there. Ms. Mike, the extra bus driver, and me. We're in there.
Did you talk with a Philadelphia accent when you're out in Vegas? Because
God,
they must have loved that.
Well, when I was there, and it's very interesting that when you go to these festivals, people come from around the country. There was a bunch of Chicago people there, like Uncle Larry Reeb.
Okay,
and he's like, take a tip from your Uncle
you
Larry.
You ever been to Alabama? Yeah. Well, save up. That was it might have been Arkansas. I don't know. They kind of run into each other.
When I was there was when what's her name, Paris Hilton was really popular, and they came in and we walked around.
Wait a minute. Was Paris Hilton ever really popular, or did people just hang around her for her money?
That was all manufactured too. Like ETV, always the stories about her, like they do with the Kardashians. But she came in for a photo shoot.
Oh, she had a good sex tape, too.
Yes. Yeah, right. Oh, yeah. But she came in for a photo shoot. We all had to clear out. But the Liberace, Liberace was in a Life magazine. Now, about manufactured things. just because you read it, you take things for granted. Okay, they were talking about how rich he was because how popular his show was. When the show actually aired for 20 minutes in the afternoon on a different channel,
everybody watched it.
Yeah,
it was very, very popular.
Yeah, it was very. He would do modern songs, but how would you say it? Make them like show tuney. He was
like neoclassical. Yeah. He would play classicals or pop tunes or things like that. And he had a flair. My jazz friends all say, "Oh, he wasn't a great player at all," But he had that showmanship and that nice, and that nice manner that he had. And he had his brother George and his mother. Would be on the show with him, so he was like a family guy too. And then Liberace.
But here's something I don't believe, and I always thought this is a manufactured BS. Now, when I say it said the article I read in Life that said that Liberace gets 40,000 fan letters a week. I'm like, I don't believe that, right? Oh, did he get fan mail? Sure. But 40,000, I can't believe, and you might go, well, he's popular. No. 40,000 people going, Dear Liberace, la, 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 la. Can I have a pair of your underwear? No way. 40,000. Same thing with the Beatles, and they do it all the time. This is Michael J. Fox on Family Ties. Michael J. Fox gets over 100,000 fans, and they always have a picture of him like this, with giant duffel bags filled with mail that was just completely stuffed before the show. He's wearing, hair and makeup and stuff. I don't believe any of that crap at all.
I believe that there was a certain amount of letters sent to, stars that weren't discovered yet, and they, and this was probably, this was even before, television. They would have, that sort of option to write your movie star. Now you can email them and do that. But 40,000 does sound like a lot. But in the scheme of things,
it said a week, and I'm like, what publicist told the reporter he's very popular? It's like that story I always talk about how they believe anything and they'll print anything. When Mike Nesmith was being interviewed, and he just had to screw around with a reporter from England. And he just made a fact up off the top of his head. The Beatles, the Monkees outsold the Beatles and the Rolling Stones combined. And he just made it up. Well, that story is still told today.
Still told today. Yeah. I love that. Yeah. And it was a lie from the gate. And people knew it was, an outrageous fact. It's like Slim Whitman outsold the Beatles. I don't think so. Slim Whitman.
Yeah. Would he have the yodel? He yodeled, didn't he?
He yodeled, and he was Canadian, and he was also the sound that the aliens could not stand in Mars Attacks. Okay?
That was very funny. But we were talking about though the 50s. This past week when I watched. Some horror movies on from the 50s, and a popular one from the early 50s. It was like 52, 54, and 56. 1952 was a movie called The Creature from the Black Lagoon. The Gill Man, the guy comes out of some South American swamp water. What do you call it? Bay? What do you call that?
Lagoon. A lagoon.
Yeah, lagoon. And
hence the name.
Yeah, and it was actually very interesting. It made a lot of money. I think it was American International Pictures, but it's a guy in a suit. It's totally emotional. As you can see, it's a rubber suit with a big fish with big lips and a gills on his face like that.
And a lot of it was filmed underwater.
That was very neat too. That was one of the first. They start using underwater camera work.
They did that down in Florida. They had the underwater scenes down in Florida, and. It was a big hit. They didn't think it was going to be a big hit. It's actually the last of the Universal monster movies.
Yes.
Okay, the last one to really come out and make and wasn't recycled material. And it was about a species that they thought or was supposedly extinct, and it comes back in the Black Lagoon, and it's half of a man.
Yeah. And what it is, at the beginning of the film, they find a hand bone, skeleton hand. Mm-hmm. And it's they believe it was a link between when animals went through evolution to humans, even though they bypassed all like monkeys and stuff, right? It went like fish to human, not monkeys and whatever hell they are.
It was always a little strange to me. It wasn't my favorite monster movie, but it was a big hit at the time, and it was originally filmed in 3D.
Mm-hmm. That's my hotel room.
Okay. you live like a creature, but a creature of comfort, John. It was and they made 2 sequels to it. Okay. Of the creature from the Black Lagoon, and the first one was Revenge of the Creature.
And then they made a third one, but it's really neat though too, because I keep saying was it Universal? It was Universal, right?
Right.
They had every time the creature would appear, you heard a team of trumpets go, and it was real slow moving, and everybody was like, it was, it's all these monsters too. You think about it, you could run away from them all. You can, you know what I mean? It's stupid, like Frankenstein and Mummy and Dracula, just walk away from you. If you just had a brisk walk, right? Maybe the Wolfman could chase after you, but it's stupid. Like they stand there.
Well, you're the type of guy who will sit in a movie theater, okay, in a movie complex, and say, "Oh, don't go in that room." Okay,
oh my God.
You are one of those type of people who will not suspend your reality. Sometimes you have to, expend your reality, when you watch The View.
Exactly. That monster show. That also makes you laugh too. Is that I guess they always have an answer for your question, and they're allowed to have an answer.
Yes.
They'll say no. Those people were so paralyzed with fright they couldn't run. Right?
Yeah, it's.
But the creature movies were very popular. They made like 3 in a row. And
they made 3 in a row, and the last one was called The Creature Walks Among Us. Is that like the coolest title in the world? The Creature Walks Among Us.
And exactly. In the first one, he gets shot, and they just show him swim, then sink down to the bottom. You don't know if he died or not.
They planned that. That was the director also directed a movie, and maybe you heard of a little movie called The Incredible Shrinking Man. Okay, that sounds like society today.
That movie was eerie too, and it's because he, in fact, that's funny too. There's a new movie coming out called Ant-Man, right? Where he goes down into that universe, because you think about it, the guy just keeps shrinking. If sooner or later he's gonna be like molecular level, like he can't get any smaller.
And it's like they were a little headier. Maybe that's why we didn't get them as kids, because they went into the actual existence. Because the Incredible Shrinking Man, he shrinks to nothing, right? He shrinks into an atom.
Well, yeah. At the end, he just goes like, "Tomorrow will be a brand new day. I'm going on a new experience." And but then the guy who made this movie too. They also went the other direction and made the Amazing Colossal Man.
Oh, that was big of them.
About a guy who runs out, very similar to the Hulk. No, not the Hulk. Him, but he runs out during an atom bomb test, and he gets coated with radiation. And they find him, and all his hair and eyebrows are blown off his body, and they have him in a hospital room. Then he starts growing bigger and bigger. Finally, he's like 100 feet tall, and he goes crazy. You know what really stinks about the movie is the special effects. It's just him in front of a screen, and at the end, he goes berserk. I think at the big telescope in California in Los Feliz.
That's the Griffin Observatory, where they also had the climactic ending of the Rebel Without a Cause, or Red Bull Without a Cause.
And several things were there too.
Tired.
Like right below that Griffin Observatory is the Batman cave.
When I was when I was like 21 and first
grade,
I got to Los Angeles. When I was 21, I got first grade.
Teacher, this guy's shaving.
You got me on that one.
He's
but I would live in Griffin Park, okay? And I had my own, I'm 21. I'm out there. I got no money, no friends out there, really. And I got my own shopping cart where I collected metal and sold it. And then that was my job. But the Griffin Observatory, they filmed a bunch of movies there.
Really, like back to fame. It's always in films. It's a really neat place too.
Yeah.
But this Amazing Colossal Man, like in the end, he gets chased around and he gets pushed off the Hoover Dam, like it's like shot, and they show him falling, and you can see it's a bad special effect. You could see the water like going through him. They didn't do it right. It was stupid, and then they milked these movies for all they're worth, because they made a sequel to that called the amazing. Oh wait, the amazing. The creature. No, what's it called? Amazing Cosmic. Oh, the War of the Amazing War of the Colossal Beast, where he's still alive.
Yeah,
and
that one. And there's nothing like like the army coming out in full blown regalia, with all their tanks and the armored cars and machine guns and everything, and they come up to a monster, and of course they never work. They never work. They're either melted or they sink into the ocean or some sort of climactic thing. It always has to be science. That triumphs.
But I also said this too, is that in this movie too, they try to cure him with a giant hypodermic needle, right? And he goes, ow! And he picks up the needle, and to him it's like a dart, and he throws and hits some guy and kills him with it. But that movie there, this shows
no syringe benefits there. Now,
this talk is going to go like bonkers land. Mm-hmm. All right, those movies, I think, plant the seed for people to distrust the military, because every movie was a army experiment gone wrong. Radiation created Godzilla. Radiation. You're playing God. No, we're not. And it made a giant.
Now I know what it's like to feel like God.
Yeah, but it was always the army. Like the tarantula was. Oh, we were spraying some chemicals, and it was always the army looking for a new weapon. The next new giant hamsters are ripping.
I like when
doors down.
I like when the mutant the giant tomato that ate Jersey to Gargo to Godzilla. But I like those big things, the giant tarantulas, the monolith men, all those things. I kind of like that just for the kitschiness of it. And I like when they're amongst towns and ruining the entire, skyline with one big giant foot or something like that. I mean, that's the parts of that I like. So I like the big monster movies.
Yeah, it's really neat too. It's, what do you call them when you look back? You can't look back with today's eyes on back then. Because you think about it, you never saw anything like this before, and you're in a movie theater and you see a giant guy go walking by, you think that looks real. Like today, we know it's obviously stupid, but
when they first showed movies in Nickelodeons, they would show like a train pulling in. And part of the audience would just think that it was a train pulling in because they had never seen that technology.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of...
Wid and I talk about this all the time. Like, that's why some comics humor is dated, especially movies. Like, you watch a movie like 1910 where a guy's a magician and he goes like a poof and disappears. And they just all they do is cut the camera. But people at home are going, oh, where'd that guy go? Oh, his magic's real. But the creature movies were... this all wraps up a little bit somehow.
Yeah.
It's really... All these movies Wid and I are just talking about, you could see how they want to milk all those props over and over again. All these giant hypodermic needles or giant things were used on different TV series afterwards. Land of the Giants, other shows where people shrank and they had like a giant bookshelf.
I at one time worked for Forrest J. Ackerman, and I worked with him in his California mansion,
Tell them who Forrest J. Ackerman is.
Well, Forrest J. Ackerman is... he started out as an editor, for science fiction magazines and books, and he started out as the editor, and he would have clients like Isaac Asimov. He would have clients like the guy who invented Scientology.
L. Ron Hubbard.
L. Ron Hubbard, who wrote science fiction. Doesn't that give the people... He said he got the inspiration for Scientology while he was lying on a gurney. But anyway, Forrest J. Ackerman was also famous monsters of movie land. He was Uncle Forry J. Ackerman. In fact, he invented the term sci-fi. He heard hi-fi, and he invented the term sci-fi. He was the first one to use that, and still gets credit for that. All the
it's a magazine called Famous Monsters.
A magazine called Famous Monsters, just like Kensil Culture is a pop culture magazine. This was a magazine dedicated to monsters: Frankenstein, the Mummy, the werewolf and Dracula. That's, and they would have the big monsters, everything, but it was usually the big five, and the universal monsters, and so it became part of all movie history because when Steven Spielberg was a little kid, he would listen to famous monsters or read famous monsters of movie land. Joe Dante, any
all
one
the
of
stars,
the
Toby Hooper, all this.
all the directors would credit him for having an interest in the world of the monsters. Okay, and Forrest J. Ackerman, look him up. Forrest J. Ackerman, Uncle Forey to a lot of kids. He loved puns, so he got along with me. He was a big punster. But he was also a big collector. He had thousands of magazines, thousands of movie props. He had thousands of, he would collect, from all over the world, he would collect Frankensteins or Draculas or anything, any books about that. And he kept archives and had this, but he would have everything from movie props from the monsters, all real masks and things like that, and Barbarella's breast implants that she had, and Ray Harryhausen the
Frankenstein socks.
It was a monster. No, but he had this, and he would have it in his Los Feliz, California, beautiful section.
I live right next door to it.
Okay. Los Feliz, also home of the House on Haunted Hill. Mm-hmm. But beautiful house, and he called it Hooray for Horrorwood, okay? And it was the Acker Mansion, okay? And he had his big collection on display down in his, in all over his house. He had beautiful old-time posters and everything like that. But we found out about the creature, which we were talking about.
Ties the show back together.
He acquired the actual mask and the hands and I think one of the feet. Okay. And he got that from a kid who would wear it for Halloween. And Forrest found out about this, and the kid, his father was a janitor at Universal Studios, and they threw it in the dumpster. The kid, and the father brought it home to the kid, and Forrest J. Ackerman bought it for an undisclosed amount of money and added it to his collection, and henceforth a beautiful, beautiful, prop that would have been thrown away.
Very, very interesting.
And was thrown away. It was he went dumpster diving. The janitor went dumpster diving. He says, "My kid will like this for Halloween."
And that's
had no idea what it would, history.
This Forrest that would know this guy.
Forrest J. Ackerman.
In the 50s is when television exploded with all different arenas. There was horror movies were finally being showed. The Three Stooges, The Little Rascals, Laurel and Hardy, wrestling, other things. And Forrest J. Ackerman knew that kids loved monster models. Hot rods, all that stuff is just all perpetuated. He found a group and he played right toward it. But Wid.
Yes, sir. Hey, John. I can see by the clock on the wall right over here that it's that we're going to wrap up a session right over here. Hey, John, let's do this. Let's talk about where we're going to be in beautiful downtown
Cape May, New Jersey, next Saturday night. We're at the so check out Wid and I on Facebook and social media. We're at a great show.
We're coming to Cape May. On the way to Cape May. Hey, thank you, everybody, and that has been another issue of Kensil Culture.